What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Masters EX video. My name is Charlie. Today, we're going to go over Marnie and Morpeko's sync grids, 1 out of 5 through 5 out of 5 grids, team builds, and lucky skills, moveset, stats, all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Marnie's an interesting one. It is an electric type weak to bug, and it's a tech type, and there is a 6-star EX available. But since it's a tech type, that means its sync move will not become an AoE sync move, it will just become a 1.5 times multiplier for its sync move. So making it stronger still, but not AoE, which is fine. The stats are 620 HP, which is actually pretty good. Physical attack of 338, special attack of 318, so not bad, but it gets better. The defenses are but you know, you were really gonna use Morpeko as a striker, not as a support tech unit, so just think of it more as a striker. And the speed is at 367, so it's actually pretty good for speed, which comes in handy because it is a ramming speed inertia sync pair. If we go down to the moves, you have Thunder Shock, which has a very small chance of leaving the target paralyzed, which increases with its passive skill. It is an electric move, power of 17 to 20 depending on how powered up it is. Accuracy of 100 against single opponent, and it's a 1 gauge move cost. Power Trip, dark type move. The more the user's stats are raised, the greater the power of this move. So this is like Bianca and Mushrana, the hidden power, or stored power? I think it's stored power. And 100% accuracy against single opponent, 2 gauge move cost. So if you just like increase Morpeko's stats, it's gonna do crazy damage with Power Trip. I mean, you guys have seen like videos that me and other YouTubers have done showcasing Mishrana's attacks. Like it's pretty good. It's really good. Alright, Aurora Wheel. Aurora Wheel raises the user's speed when the user is in full belly mode. This attack becomes electric type. When the user is in hangry mode, this attack becomes dark type. And that's very important to know. The power is 80 to 96, depending on how powered up it is. 100% accuracy against a single opponent, 3 gauge move cost. We'll get into why this is very important, the details here, when we get to the passive skills. Next up is Snack Time. 2 gauge, it's the trainer move. You can have 2 uses for it. It raises the user's attack. If the user's speed has been raised, also raises the user's attack by the same amount. So it's really good. It also goes towards Power Trip. When the user is in full belly mode, makes the user gradually heal itself. When the user is in hangry mode, raises the user's critical hit rate. So you could potentially use this to start healing yourself and then switch to hangry mode and then use it to increase your critical hit rate if you don't have like a dire hit all support on your team. Next up is the sync move, Hangry Wild Charge. It is only going to be electric type. When the user is in hangry mode, the user changes to full belly mode. Vice versa, when you're in full belly mode, you'll change to hangry mode. This move's power increases if the target is paralyzed. It does 200 to 240 power, depending on how powered up it is, and it's a physical attack for the sync move. Again, when you become a 6-star EX, whatever power you have gets multiplied by 1.5 times. So the passive skills, here is the crazy interesting part of Morpeko. So you have Mood Swing. When the user is in full belly mode, powers up the user's electric type moves. So you can use like Aurora Wheel and it'll increase it when it's an electric move when you're in full belly mode. When you're in hangry mode, it becomes a dark type move. And with mood swing, when the user is in hangry mode, powers up the user's dark type moves. Also can power up power trip when you're in hangry mode. Hostile Environment 5 raises the chances of inflicting status conditions with the additional effects of moves. That is just to paralyze people with Thundershock. So you can literally within, if you don't use like Whimsicott, who does an AoE paralyzing, you can literally use your first 3 moves to paralyze the entire opposing team. And it's only going to use 1 gauge for each one, so it's really good. Hunger Switch. After the Pokemon uses a move, it switches between full belly mode and hangry mode. This is the really important thing to know, because Aurora Wheel will switch between electric and dark type moves when you're in full belly mode or hangry mode. So each time you use Aurora Wheel, you're switching between those. Every time you use Snack Time, you're switching between those. Power Trip, you're switching between those. Thundershock, you're switching between those. So maybe not Snack Time. Maybe it just might be the physical attacks here. But still, that's an interesting thing. So you really have to time it if you want to use Aurora Wheel as a dark type move. It's kind of interesting. And then when you use your sync move, you're going to instantly switch to the other type. So like, it'll be interesting to use Morpeko. That's what I'm saying. It'll be really interesting to use it. And depending, I know in Sword and Shield, it does have like a, its animation between switching between these two is kind of slow. So some people have been saying on like the Facebook groups and stuff like that, that maybe if you're changing, it'll give you free, like, more free time for move gauge to refresh. But it could act in the way that like a sync move happens and it stops the move gauge from refreshing while you're in that animation. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see how that goes when Morpeko and Marnie come to the game. So by the time you guys see this, they should be in the game at the time of upload. So there you go. All right. So with all that being said, and none of this stuff changes when you switch to the hangry form. So yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about passive skills. You would really want Critical Strike 2 for your passive skill, just to increase the amount of damage that you can do with your critical hit rates. And as far as team builds go, Whimsicott if you want to just get the paralysis right out of the gate, but you really want to have supports that are going to increase your stats, and especially speed. So Samurott would be really useful for this one. Really useful for this one, because Samurott increases speed and critical hit rate and physical attack, all of which Morpeko would benefit from. The other one would be like Skyla and Swanna. Another really good one that's going to increase defense and speed at the same time. You could use Meganium as well, because that'll increase critical hit rate and other stats, and it'll let you defend from special attacks. Yeah, so there's a bunch of different sync pairs out there that are really good supports. Let me know what you think would be good supports for Morpeko down in the comments section below. Alright, with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the sync grids. The first one's a 1 out of 5 build. You pretty much get everything here. We just couldn't get this extra Thundershock power up. But you do have haste, so your speed can't be lowered, and you do have Lithe, so you cannot get paralyzed. And we have the Thundershock move gauge refresh, so you can just spam Thundershock, so it's pretty cool. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is the first 2 out of 5 build. This one you can pretty much get all the MP and move gauge refreshes. We also have Thundershock Staggering 2 has a moderate chance of making the target flinch when an attack is successful, so you can literally paralyze and flinch at the same time here, which is pretty good. Power Trip move gauge refresh. Snack Time MP refresh 2, which isn't amazing, but it's better than nothing. And we have Speedy Entry 1, raises the user's speed when the Pokemon enters battle. And from there we grab some of the attack nodes and some special defense, because you could use, realistically you're going to use Skyla and Swan on the team, or even I could see you using Skyla and Swanna, and depends on how you want to use it, because you could use Luxray too for electric terrain and do a lot of damage that way with electric attacks. So it really depends on how you want to play it. But yeah, you could use Skyla and Swan and increase your defense here. Alright, moving on to the next one. This one is a little bit different because we're going for life here just to prevent us from getting paralyzed. But otherwise it's still relatively the same, not much change for the 2 out of 5. Now when you get to 3 out of 5, this is when things can get crazy sauce. So we have Power Trip move gauge refresh, along with haste. We also have Aurora Wheel ramming speed. The more the user's speed has been raised, the more it powers up moves. Specifically Aurora Wheel. God, that is a mouthful. We also have Aurora Wheel's move gauge refresh 3, and Speedy Entry, and Snack Time MP refresh. Now another way to do this would be, I mean, if you wanted to power up Aurora Wheel, you could just, you know, do this. If you didn't want Power Trip at all, you could really power up Aurora Wheel and use like a Luxray. And then I guess from here, no, this is fine, yeah. And then you could increase our special defense a little bit more. Because you could use like a combination of Luxray to get electric terrain and Skyla and Swanna increase your speed and physical defense, or Luxray with Samurott and increase your physical attack and speed with Samurott, and critical hit rate too, because his sync grid's pretty good. But yeah guys, that's pretty good for Aurora Wheel. And remember, it can be a dark type move as well if you're in hangry mode. So all that stuff, but for dark type attack as well. Alright, moving on. This one is a bit of a sync nuke, but with Power Trip, because Power Trip will be very, very powerful when used correctly. You can use it in conjunction with your sync move, especially as a dark type striker. We do have to get to the last, the bottom sync node by using Snack Time Super Preparation 4, which has a good chance of applying the super effective next effect to the user when a move is successful. Yeah, that's really good. Again, you can like time this to where your dark type attacks are hitting crazy hard. Crazy hard. Just look at Bianca and Mushrana's. Like, it's just crazy. Just minus psychic terrain. We don't have like a dark type terrain yet, but when that happens, Marnie will become even more useful as a striker. Alright, and last but not least is a sync nuke build, but with still getting Power Trip as well. But we also have Static Shock 3, powers up sync moves when the target is paralyzed, and Inertia. The higher the user's speed, the more it powers up sync moves. So yeah guys, that'll pretty much do it for Marnie and Morpeko. Let me know what you guys think about the sync grid down in the comment section below. Let me know about which supports you think will work best for Morpeko. And what do you think about it being able to switch between each move, between Dark type and Electric type? I'm looking forward to what you guys have to say, actually. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already, so you never miss out on any of my daily Pokemon Masters EX content. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, guys.